China's epidemic is severe. More and more young and middle-aged people are passing away. 35-year-old policeman dies while on duty. On June 9th, a 35-year-old police officer in Henan passed away during a business trip while handling a case, drawing public attention. According to the official WeChat account, Ministry of Public Security News Media, Wang Zhen, an officer from the Traffic Police Brigade of Taikang County Public Security Bureau in Zhoukou City, Henan Province, suffered a sudden heart condition during a work trip. Despite rescue efforts, he passed away in the early hours of June 9th. He was 35. Wang Zhen was a member of the Communist Party of China, the captain of the Changying Squadron under the Traffic Police Brigade, and held the rank of third-level police captain. A surge in sudden deaths among younger people as the outbreak intensifies. Recently, the epidemic in China has intensified, with growing reports of sudden deaths among young and middle-aged individuals. Online accounts mention that several doctors in Guangzhou, Kunming, and other cities have passed away, many reportedly in their 50s. Kang Hong, a doctor at a private clinic in Guangzhou, told NTD that the outbreak is serious but underreported. Doctors at Guangzhou's top hospitals have passed away, yet the Health Bureau told us not to report it, just to disinfect, wear masks, and wash hands. He also mentioned that a local doctor in his 70s developed a cough at work and passed away from a serious illness 2 days later. In a rare admission, Chinese authorities recently announced several new COVID-related deaths, signaling a severe situation. On June 5th, the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CCDC, reported 440,662 new confirmed cases in May, with 606 severe cases and 7 reported deaths. However, due to long-standing concerns over data transparency, the actual numbers are believed to be much higher. Mr. Wang, a hospital employee in Hefei, Anhui, told NTD that someone he knows was hospitalized with a severe infection. There are more people with lung nodules now and many have passed away, but the news is being suppressed. Hospital staff have been told to stay silent. There are several cases of white lungs around me. Some are young, some are students, and some are elderly, he said. There are also people in their 20s and 30s who passed away suddenly. I can't speak publicly about it. Mr. Hao, a resident of Anyang, Henan, said, "There have been more sudden deaths this year, especially among people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. I know 3 of them. They were healthy, no known heart conditions, yet were all reported to have died of heart problems." Mr. Ma, a resident of Zhejiang, shared, "I know 2 young people in their 30s and 40s who passed away suddenly. One died on a train during a business trip, the other while driving on the highway." Intensive passing of CCP members and police officers raises concerns. In the nearly 6 years since the outbreak of Wuhan pneumonia, the Chinese authorities have consistently covered up the true scale of the epidemic. Official information reveals that a significant number of individuals in the party, government, military, police, scientific, educational, and cultural sectors have passed away, with most of them being members of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. In 2023, an unusual number of young CCP police officers passed away. According to information posted on the official Weibo account of the Public Security Bureau's Golden Shield Monument, several cases drew public concern. Wang Ruikong, a CCP member and first-class officer at the Luhong City Police Station, passed away due to a sudden illness on August 1, 2023. He was only 23 years old. Pan Chunquan, a CCP member and officer at the Diakai branch of the Guilin Public Security Bureau in Guangxi, passed away due to illness on August 2, 2023, at age 46. Chen Yongkun, a first-class inspector in the Criminal Investigation Brigade of Puning Public Security Bureau, Guangdong Province, experienced chest pain on August 5, 2023, and passed away after emergency treatment. He was 36. Li Hongchun, a first-class sergeant at the detention center of Muding County Public Security Bureau in Yunnan Province, passed away on August 5, 2023, after efforts to save him failed. He was 55. Li Jianlan, a CCP member and director of the command center at the Traffic Police Detachment of the Suqian Public Security Bureau, Jiangsu Province, fell ill at work on July 2 and passed away in hospital on August 7. He was only 34 years old. According to data from the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CCDC, in May alone, there were over 440,000 newly confirmed COVID-19 cases, 606 severe cases, and 7 reported deaths. The positive rate of COVID-19 among influenza-like illnesses increased from 18.3% at the beginning of the month to 22.8% by the end. Official statistics show that fever clinic visits nationwide ranged from 56,000 to 77,000 per day. Gene sequencing reveals that the dominant strain is currently the 6th-generation subvariant of Omicron, XDV NB.118.1. In Beijing, the Municipal Health Commission reported more than 31,000 cases of statutory infectious diseases in May, with COVID-19 and influenza being the most prominent. On June 10th, Zheng Nanshan, an academician with the Chinese Academy of Engineering, confirmed that the positivity rate for COVID-19 among flu-like cases had reached 22.8% by the end of May. He noted the virus is highly contagious, though its pathogenicity has significantly decreased. Many landlords in Shanghai have already collapsed. Shanghai's once booming landlord class is crumbling under the weight of a brutal property downturn. With both housing prices and rental income nosediving, countless landlords have hit a breaking point. This isn't just about numbers. This is a full-blown crisis, shaking the foundations of family wealth, long-term planning, and psychological resilience. Just needed housing landlords, slashing prices in a desperate survival game. For owners of just-needed homes priced below 5 million yuan, the market has turned into a battlefield. Whether it's an old inner-city flat without school district perks, a suburban relocation property, or a basic commodity house, every listing now faces crushing pressure to sell. Listings are flooding the market. Competition is ruthless. To even get a single viewing, landlords are cutting prices again and again, yet many properties still sit untouched for over a year. The supply-demand balance has flipped. Loosened purchase restrictions did little to revive demand. Cautious buyers are shopping around, laser-focused on cost-effectiveness. Landlords, caught in the spiral, are forced to exchange price for volume just to survive. Second-hand landlords, holding the line, but stuck in stalemate. In contrast, second-hand homeowners in prime areas are taking a defiant stand. They're refusing to slash prices, and some are even raising them, betting on location and scarcity. In rare cases like Panlong Tiandi and Yanlord East Suburb Garden, they've seen price rebounds, but this confidence is on shaky ground. Middle-class buyers are freezing up. The home upgrade chain is breaking down. Transactions are stalling. How long can these landlords hold the line? That depends on policy direction and whether demand can catch up. Second landlords, vanishing middlemen in a collapsed rental market. The second landlords, once dominant in Shanghai's rental scene, are vanishing. Plunging rents and prolonged vacancies have gutted their income. Rents have fallen back to 2019 levels, a far cry from the 2022 peak. Those who bought at high prices now face massive losses. Some early entrants may weather the storm, but many are wiped out. Rumors claim up to 70% have disappeared. Even if exaggerated, it reveals the severity. The rapid rise of rent-guaranteed housing has intensified the collapse, flooding the market and pushing individuals and small agencies out. Landlords' responses: cut losses, downsize, adapt, or wait. Faced with this deep freeze, landlords are scrambling for strategies. Some are selling homes and switching to renting, hoarding cash for safety. Others abandon dreams of upgrading and settle for rent-for-rent swaps to cut costs. Some are downsizing, trading large urban units for smaller or suburban ones to ease financial strain. Each move reflects a different bet on the future. Some believe the real estate golden age is over and rush to exit. Others still hold hope for a rebound. A few are recalibrating their assets in anticipation of long-term change. Big picture, the property winter is deepening and the market is splitting. At the macro level, the fallout from the tariff war and economic slowdown is hitting hard. Property data from cities like Shanghai and Hangzhou show one direction: down. For secondhand homes, oversupply is the main threat. When listings outpace sales, price cuts become the only path. Meanwhile, the rise of new generation housing, more efficient layouts, higher build quality, is undercutting older listings in the same price band. The future? A sharply divided market. Premium, well-maintained homes may thrive. The rest may become dead weight. Conclusion: only the adaptable will survive this brutal reset. In this freezing market, Shanghai's landlords are showing a wide range of responses. Some bleed to survive, some hold their ground, some pivot fast. No matter the path, clear vision and bold judgment are now survival tools. The game has changed. The era of guaranteed appreciation is over. The new market rewards quality, adaptability, and insight. Landlords must stay alert to shifts in policy, buyer sentiment, and demand trends. Only those who evolve will stay standing. The cold winter of real estate isn't just a test, it's a reset. And for those who can endure and adapt, it may mark the start of a new cycle.
China's epidemic turns grim. Sudden collapses among young and old raise alarms. Last week, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, unusually announced the number of COVID-19 deaths in May, revealing the severity of the outbreak. Many residents across China revealed that hospitals are overcrowded with no available beds, severe white lung syndrome affects people of all ages, and the number of sudden deaths among young and middle-aged people has risen sharply. The actual death toll is believed to be much higher than the official figures. Some crematoriums have also reported long queues for cremation. On June 5th, the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, China CDC, reported 440,662 new COVID-19 cases nationwide in May, including 606 severe cases and 7 deaths. However, many people across the country have stated that the Chinese authorities routinely hide data, and the actual number of deaths is much higher. Mr. Wang, a hospital employee in Hefei, Anhui Province, revealed that the outbreak has recently resurged, and one of his acquaintances is currently hospitalized in serious condition. There has been a sharp increase in lung tumors, which can develop into pneumonia or lung cancer, resulting in many deaths. However, this information is being censored, and hospital staff are prohibited from disclosing it. Mr. Wang, hospital worker in Hefei, Anhui. Around me, there are several white lung cases, including young people, students, and also elderly people in their 60s and 70s. The hospital has no vacant beds. There have been several sudden deaths, people in their 20s and 30s. Some died on the streets, others had meningitis. We're not allowed to talk about it publicly. Mr. Wang also revealed that local crematoriums have been handed over to private operators, and cremation is mandatory with very high fees. People who cannot afford it are forced to secretly bury their dead in rural areas, but this is strictly controlled by authorities, and violators face heavy fines. Mr. Wang: there are many deaths at the crematorium now, and people have to wait in line. Cemetery plots are always expensive. Some cost 70,000 to 80,000 yuan, or even over 100,000. You have to cremate before burying, or else you'll be fined if caught. It's just an extra step and a complete waste. Mr. Hao, a resident of Anyang City, Henan Province, said that many people now have weaker immunity than before, frequently experiencing colds and full-body fatigue. These are believed to be long COVID symptoms. Sudden deaths among young and middle-aged people have significantly increased. Mr. Hao, resident of Anyang, Henan: it just keeps going. Hospitals are always full. This year, sudden deaths have increased, even among the young. People in their 30s to 50s. I know 3 people, all young and previously healthy. They were said to have died of heart disease, but in fact, they had no history of heart problems. Mr. Ma, a resident of Zhejiang, said the pandemic never really went away. Two middle-aged acquaintances of his died suddenly. One died while on a train for work, and the other while driving on the highway. Mr. Ma, resident of Zhejiang, the situation is quite severe. Sore throats and hospitals are always crowded. Now, the media also call it COVID, but ordinary doctors don't dare to say that, as it could get them in trouble. Many young people are dying suddenly. Two people around me, one over 40, the other over 30, died suddenly. Mr. Li, a resident of Shijiazhuang, Hebei province, revealed that currently many school children are infected and have to stay home for treatment. Mr. Li, resident of Shijiazhuang, Hebei. Many kids are infected, with high fevers and severe symptoms. It's usually sore throat, still viral, hard to treat, and nothing really works. COVID outbreak, resurges in China. Doctors exposed CCP's cover-up after the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, made a rare admission that COVID-19 is resurging. It quickly claimed that the epidemic situation has eased. However, many residents across different regions in China told New Tang Dynasty Television, NTD, reporters that the virus never disappeared. A new wave is currently sweeping the country. Hospitals and clinics are overwhelmed. Sudden deaths are frequent. Even doctors have died at their workplaces. Some medical professionals have come forward to expose the CCP's long-standing tactics of concealing the COVID-19 outbreak. In early May, the CCP unusually acknowledged a rise in COVID-19 cases. However, by May 28, state media quoted the CCP's Bureau of Disease Control as saying the nationwide upward trend in COVID-19 was now slowing down. By late May, a Chinese doctor told NTD reporters that the pandemic never left. Authorities banned any mention of the word COVID and refused to officially acknowledge any outbreak, handling everything according to political needs. Dr. Kang Hong from a clinic in Guangzhou said, "The authorities monitor everything, but they never speak plainly. Just like with PCR testing before, there was a time when they prohibited it. If you wanted to get tested, it cost over 100 yuan. Doctors would just say, whether it's COVID or not, it's still a viral infection, a respiratory infection, so let's not bother." Now, they've resumed testing because the state needs surveillance to be prepared in case something big happens. Dr. Kang Hong also revealed that the outbreak has returned recently, with many people becoming infected. At a frontline hospital in Guangzhou, an elderly doctor contracted COVID-19 and died while on duty. Kang Hong, "COVID has a higher fatality rate than the flu, with more severe symptoms. I normally don't wear a mask, but now I have to. It mainly affects the elderly who are more susceptible to pneumonia. Some recover, but some don't. At the frontline hospital where my daughter works, an elderly doctor passed away. He was still working, but within 2 days, he couldn't hold on. Tests showed he had severe symptoms. That kind of case is classified as a work-related accident." Recently, in cities like Shanghai, Guangzhou, Yunnan, Hunan, and Guizhou, several well-known doctors have died suddenly. The oldest was 64 years old, the youngest just 37. Kang Hong further revealed that even if someone dies from a COVID infection, hospitals are not allowed to report it. Kang Hong, "At my clinic, more than half of the patients have flu-like symptoms. We don't test anymore, and the patients don't want to be tested either. Everyone already knows it's COVID and doesn't want to waste money on testing. For a long time, hospitals didn't test because it would cause panic. After all, whenever someone dies, people get scared. Right now, the health authorities have told us that we don't need to report anything. Regular hospitals also do not tally deaths caused by COVID. Official statistics come from designated monitoring stations, hospitals selected for surveillance. Testing costs at these stations are covered by the government, allowing authorities to monitor the situation." Kang Hong, "For example, in Guangzhou, there are dozens of monitoring hospitals, usually frontline hospitals with fever clinics. These fever clinics existed even before COVID. Now, anyone who comes in gets tested right away. The cost is covered by the state, patients don't have to pay, which makes it easier for the government to control things, while ordinary people remain unaware." Dr. Chen Yang, a traditional Chinese medicine doctor in Zhuzhou, Hunan, also revealed that the authorities are always hiding the epidemic. Chen Yang, "The virus is surging again. I believe it never really stopped. I regularly receive patients. After failing to recover through Western medicine, they come to me. Taking traditional Chinese medicine works better. Some people died, but no one is allowed to say it was due to the virus. I estimate that in China, about 1 billion people still haven't been infected, and the virus has already killed at least several hundred million. Mr. Liu, a resident of Yulin City in Shanxi province, said the outbreaks keep recurring, and many people around him suffer repeated fevers and colds. Mr. Liu, many adults are getting sick, fever, diarrhea, sore throat. Quite a few need IV drips, though most can recover. It usually takes at least a week. Many residents in Shenzhen have also revealed that there are currently many COVID cases and that hospitals and clinics are overwhelmed. Mr. Jian, a resident of Shenzhen, southern China is hit pretty hard. In Shenzhen, lots of hospitals and clinics have long lines. Everyone has sore throats and fevers. According to the official definition, this is COVID, a variant of it. But if someone dies from it, the government will never say it was because of COVID. Mr. Tao, a resident of Jilin City, also reported that many people around him have died, but such information is strictly blocked by the authorities. Mr. Tao, lately there have been quite a few deaths. Several people passed away just in the past few days, including both elderly and younger folks. One elderly person was still alert, went for a walk in the morning, and died before they could even make it to the hospital. There have been quite a few deaths.
China's economy is in serious decline, and the banking industry, once known as the Iron Rice Bowl, is facing a dilemma of salary cuts and layoffs. Recently, many banks released financial reports revealing that 4 banks laid off more than 4,000 people in the first half of the year. As of August 20th, financial reports released by several listed banks, including Nanjing Bank, Ping An Bank, Pudong Development Bank, and Shanghai Rural Commercial Bank, showed that many banks not only saw a decline in revenue, but also implemented salary cuts and layoffs. According to statistics from Oriental Fortune Choice, 4 banks, Nanjing Bank, Ping An Bank, Pudong Development Bank, and Shanghai Rural Commercial Bank, laid off as many as 4,116 people in the first half of the year. American economist David Huang stated, "In the past decade, China's banks have been overdeveloped because more than a decade ago, China sought to emulate the financialization of the United States to dominate the world. Now, this unchecked growth has hit reality, forcing a contraction when it proves unsustainable. This is the first reason." Among the 4 banks, Ping An Bank laid off the most employees. The bank's latest total number of employees is 40,130, down from 43,119 at the end of last year, with 2,289 people losing their jobs, representing a layoff rate of 5.6%. David Huang added, "The second reason is that the management model of Chinese banks is more bureaucratic, leading to inefficiencies in profitability, risk management, and overall system management. Now that the economy is down, these existing issues are becoming increasingly prominent. These leaders are unwilling to resign or reduce their salaries, so they are forced to start with staff layoffs." Pudong Development Bank laid off 1,663 employees in the first half of the year, reducing its workforce from 60,706 at the beginning of the year to 59,043 by mid-year, with an overall layoff rate of about 2.7%. In the past year, the bank's employee expenses fell from RMB 13.729 billion to RMB 13.640 billion. 7 months ago, China Construction Bank, one of China's 4 major state-owned joint stock commercial banks, also reported salary cuts. Mainland media quoted relevant people from CCB as saying that the bank is comprehensively promoting salary adjustments, which not only cover the functional departments of the head office, but also extend to the subsidiaries under the group. The average salary of head office staff has dropped by slightly more than 10%. The financial industry was once referred to as the Golden Rice Bowl or Iron Rice Bowl. With the recession of China's economy, more banks have gone bankrupt or been merged and reorganized. David Huang commented, "Bank layoffs and salary cuts, along with the dissolution of small and medium-sized banks, indicate that China's entire financial system has grown too wildly over the past decade, especially in the development of financial services, including banks and securities companies. The next downfall could be in the securities companies. The latest data released by the State Administration of Financial Supervision of the Communist Party of China shows that at least 50 small and medium-sized banks in China have been dissolved since the beginning of this year, most of which are rural small and medium-sized banks. David Huang stated, "This has a huge impact on the lives of ordinary people, as the bankruptcy of these banks often means that the savings of depositors over the past few decades could be lost." Foreign investors are even more worried because China's financial systemic risks are crucial to the overall investment environment. According to incomplete statistics from the State Administration of Financial Supervision of the Communist Party of China, as of July 25th this year, nearly 1,500 bank branches have closed down.
COVID-19 tsunami new variant pushes China to the brink. China is reeling from a severe COVID-19 outbreak driven by the rapidly spreading NB181 variant dubbed Nimbus. On Thursday, the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, reported a staggering 440,000 new cases in May 2025 alone, the highest this year, with infections steadily rising since March. Hospitals in Guangzhou, Jilin, and Shenzhen are overwhelmed with patients suffering from fever, severe sore throats, shortness of breath, and prolonged fatigue. Li, a Guangzhou resident, shared his ordeal. "This is my third time with COVID. I'm coughing so hard it feels like my lungs are coming up. I've lost my sense of smell and appetite. It's been over 10 days and I still can't work." An anonymous doctor in Guangzhou revealed, "Many patients arrive with cold-like symptoms but were told not to test for COVID to avoid panic. A senior doctor in our hospital died just 2 days after contracting the virus." According to the World Health Organization, WHO, the highly transmissible Nimbus variant is spreading not only in China but also in Australia, Hong Kong, Japan, and Southeast Asia, raising global concerns. In China, however, official information remains murky. The government is accused of concealing the true death toll, with reports from citizens indicating an alarming rise in fatalities, including among the young. A Jilin resident recounted, "In just a few days I heard of several deaths, old and young alike. A healthy elderly man who walked every morning didn't make it to the hospital." This lack of transparency has sparked outrage on social media, with posts quickly censored. Economic collapse, bursting property bubble, and crippling debt. Alongside the health crisis, China's economy is plummeting into an abyss. The real estate market, once the backbone of economic growth, lies in ruins. With over 70% of household wealth tied to property, its collapse has wiped out the savings of millions. Land sales dropped 22% in the first quarter of 2023, and major developers like Evergrande have left countless unfinished ghost apartments. A Shenzhen resident lamented, "We poured our money into homes only to be left with abandoned construction sites. Our life savings are gone." Debt is at the heart of the crisis. Local governments, once reliant on land sales for revenue, are now cash-strapped. Some have raised university tuition fees by up to 54%, while youth unemployment exceeds 20%. A Guangzhou blogger remarked, "Over 800 million Chinese are drowning in debt, from individuals to governments. We're borrowing from the future to survive today." Industrial production is also collapsing, with the Purchasing Managers' Index, PMI, falling to 48.3 in May, the lowest since 2022. Factories in Guangzhou and Shandong face closure, with 80% of manufacturers at risk of bankruptcy. A factory owner shared, "The machines have stopped, workers are laid off, and orders have vanished. Just days ago we were busy. Now, everything's at a standstill." Fierce competition, known as involution, has driven businesses into a brutal price war, eroding profits. A Guangzhou textile factory owner complained, "Customers demand prices so low we're left with a 3% margin. If we don't comply, they go to competitors, but if we do, we lose money." Export orders are shifting to Vietnam, Mexico, and India, undermining China's manufacturing dominance. According to Business Insider, Wall Street's dream of a Chinese economic recovery has turned into a nightmare. Unemployment wave, 30 million jobs at risk. The economic crisis has triggered China's worst unemployment wave in history. An estimated 30 million manufacturing jobs are at risk, and 60% of college graduates cannot find work. A recent graduate at a Beijing job fair shared, "I've applied everywhere, but the only offers are low-paying jobs that barely cover living costs. 4 years of university, and I'm just trying to survive." Protests over unpaid wages and factory arsons are becoming common. On May 20, a fire at Sichuan Jinwu Textile Company, allegedly started by an unpaid worker, sparked debates about harsh labor conditions. The post-90s generation, once the backbone of the workforce, is now in despair. A Zhejiang fashion blogger said, "The market this year is unimaginably bad. Factories are closing, and I'm about to lose my job again." Unemployment also affects the elderly. An 80-year-old Shandong man shared, "I sell potatoes on the roadside, but no one buys them. Life is nothing but despair." Rural pensions, averaging just 123 yuan monthly, are insufficient for basic needs. Human rights crackdown. When robbers wear police uniforms. Amid the health and economic crises, the Chinese government is tightening social control, leading to severe human rights violations. A popular saying among citizens is, "Bandits once hid in the mountains, now they wear police uniforms." Law enforcement agencies, from urban management to police, are accused of abusing power. The case of Mr. Chen, a Fuzhou farmer fined 100,000 yuan for earning 14 yuan selling celery, sparked outrage online. Netizens commented, "They're so desperate they're openly robbing the poor." More alarmingly, the government is accused of using psychiatric hospitals to silence dissenters. In Wuhan, a woman named Lei Jiajing was handcuffed and forcibly admitted to a psychiatric facility despite insisting she was mentally sound. A vlogger explained, "Label someone as mentally ill and they lose all power. No matter how much they scream, no one believes a lunatic." Activists, Falun Gong practitioners, and petitioners are detained in psychiatric wards without fair trials, fueling widespread fear. Freedom of religion, speech, and the press is virtually non-existent. Human rights lawyer Wu Xiaoping, now in the U.S., described China under the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, as hell on earth. A depositor at Hunan Village Bank said, "Our accounts have been frozen since 2022, and we can't withdraw a cent. The government offers no explanation, only crackdowns when we protest. Protests for rights are often met with violence and unlawful detentions." Mysterious death. Power struggles within the CCP. Amid the crises, the sudden death of Senior General Xu Qingliang on June 2 has raised suspicions of internal power struggles within the CCP. Xinhua reported he died of illness in Beijing without specifying the cause. A military source claimed he suffered a heart attack while jogging, but former journalist Xiao Lenyan suggested he was scared to death amid purges targeting military officials. His death, attended by all 7 Politburo Standing Committee members, has fueled speculation about links to investigations targeting the political factions of Xizhong and Miaohua. Wang Yutun, a former disciplinary official, questioned, "Why would a healthy man with top-tier medical care die suddenly at such a sensitive time?" A cry for help, the true face of China. The Chinese people are pleading for the world's attention. A vlogger declared, "This is the real China. No freedom, no justice, not even the right to live." Over 600 million people live on less than 1,000 yuan monthly, while public officials enjoy state-funded perks like meal vouchers. A Shandong migrant worker said, "My lunch is rice with cabbage and chili. Meanwhile, officials eat meat with 13 yuan from our taxes." This inequality, combined with oppressive policies, is driving people to despair. The blogger analyzed, "We're passengers on a sinking ship, and no one can escape. Economic collapse, disease, and repression are just the beginning. The Chinese people are not only battling COVID-19 and unemployment, but also a political system spiraling out of control. The CCP's propaganda paints a picture of stability, but social media outrage and protests reveal the opposite. The road ahead, a harsh winter. China faces a cold winter, economically and socially. Expert UAN warned, if you're clinging to a failing project, cut your losses now. Survival is the key skill today. With the Nimbus variant, economic collapse, and rising human rights abuses, China's outlook is grim. President Xi Jinping appears to be preparing citizens for an era of low growth, yet market-oriented solutions are ignored. Trade, once a lifeline, is faltering as the U.S. and others de-risk from China. Major investors like JP Chase are pulling out, and global confidence in China is plummeting. A Guangzhou blogger concluded, "China's economic miracle is dead. We don't know when spring will come, but first we must survive this winter." A cry that must be heard. China is grappling with a multifaceted crisis. A raging pandemic, economic collapse, social unrest, and human rights abuses. The Nimbus variant threatens not only health but also exacerbates economic and social woes. From unemployed workers and struggling graduates to elderly street vendors, the Chinese people are crying out in despair. The CCP's tight control and lack of transparency are losing grip. Will the world hear their plea? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonates with you, don't hesitate to share it with friends. Your support helps us continue delivering independent, high-quality reporting. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay updated with the latest from China Undercover. Thank you for watching.
The pandemic situation in mainland China is severe. COVID-19, also known as the CCP virus, is rampant, and hospitals are overwhelmed with crowds. Recently, numerous posts on mainland Chinese social media platforms show that more and more people are suddenly collapsing in public, while sudden death incidents among ride-hailing and truck drivers are becoming increasingly frequent. One mainland netizen lamented, "Nowadays, it's not about waiting until you're old to die. One could pass away at any time, anywhere." Sudden deaths among ride-hailing and truck drivers are on the rise. Mainland Douyin blogger Kai Chengkai recently posted a video saying, 3 days. Within just 3 days, 5 truck drivers have died. He noted that 4 of them collapsed right at the steering wheel and lost consciousness. All were sudden deaths, with an average age of under 40. On May 20th, Kai Chengkai posted another video saying, "Another trucker has fallen." The footage shows a seemingly unconscious middle-aged man being carried off a truck by several people. According to Kai, by rough estimates, around 300 truck drivers have died suddenly in 2024. Douyin blogger, ride-hailing female driver Meng Meng, expressed her frustration on April 11th. "Ride-hailing fares keep dropping, and the number of drivers dying suddenly keeps rising. We're just trying to feed our families. What have we done wrong? These tragedies are breaking the hearts of countless ride-hailing drivers." Netizens react. Not just the elderly. You can die anytime, anywhere. Regarding the frequent sudden deaths of ride-hailing and truck drivers, in comment sections under related topics, some netizens believe the drivers died from exhaustion. Others suspect it's due to side effects after the injection, while some attribute it to the virus itself. A netizen from Heilongjiang wrote, "My friend runs a funeral home and crematorium. He said that in the past few years, there's been a noticeable increase in deaths, not just among the elderly, but young people too. He's a tough guy, yet he often can't hold back tears." A netizen from Sichuan said, "It seems that many people who died this year were in their 30s or 40s. I find it strange too. These days I sometimes feel palpitations, shortness of breath, and dizziness." A netizen from Shanxi shared, "My cousin was only in her early 30s and passed away in her sleep, without any signs or prior illness. She had no underlying health conditions and was full of energy. She went to sleep and never woke up." Mainland netizens left comments expressing sorrow and shock. "Several people I know born in the 70s have already passed away." A friend who's a doctor said at dinner today that more people in their 20s and 30s are dying now. After the COVID outbreak, sudden cardiac deaths have increased, especially among young people. It's COVID. Now, you don't wait until old age to die. You can die anytime, anywhere. Hospitals in many parts of mainland China are overcrowded. A large number of videos on the mainland Chinese platform, Douyin, show that hospitals in many regions have recently been packed with people. Doctor blogger Pediatrician Orange reminded in a video that recently there has indeed been a rise in patients with sore throats, fevers, and coughs. After all, it's a virus. Everyone must be cautious. Another doctor blogger, Director Who Talks Health, also released a video warning that COVID-19 is active again and patient numbers are surging. Douyin blogger World Peace posted a video titled "Hospitals Overcrowded" on May 14th, in which he exclaimed, "Why is it that hospitals all over the world don't make money, but only hospitals in China do? Because once hospitals are commercialized, their goal is no longer to cure patients, but to make as much money as possible from them." Many netizens responded with comments like, "Well said," and "Exactly right." According to data from the Chinese CDC, in the 18th week, from late April to early May, the COVID-19 positivity rate among flu-like cases in national sentinel hospitals rose to 16.2%, more than doubling from 7.5% in early April. Among hospitalized patients with severe acute respiratory infections, the COVID-19 positivity rate also increased from 3.3% to 6.3% by early May. Furthermore, for 3 consecutive weeks, COVID-19 has ranked first among outpatient flu-like illnesses.
Doctors collapse. Truth covered up. China's hidden COVID wave. The CCP recently claimed that the COVID-19 epidemic has slowed down, but the death toll in various places remains high, which has attracted widespread attention. The ages of the deceased span the old, middle-aged, and young, and even many medical staff have died one after another. The CCP party media recently reported that it was learned from the CCP National Center for Disease Control and Prevention that the national COVID-19 epidemic has slowed down and the epidemic in most provinces has reached a peak or is on a downward trend. However, the number of people infected with the new coronavirus in various parts of the country remains high, regardless of age, and many people have passed away. Mr. Tao, a citizen of Jilin, there have been quite a lot of deaths recently. Several people have died in the past 2 days. Some are old and some are young. The older ones are energetic. They get up in the morning and walk around. They died before they were sent to the hospital. Chen Yang, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner in Zhuzhou, Hunan. Those who died are not allowed to say that it was the new coronavirus virus. I estimate that China's population is less than 1 billion, and at least hundreds of millions of people have been killed by this virus. On June 2nd, mainland media reported that Ye Long, 33, from the Institute of Historical Archaeology of the Guangdong Provincial Institute of Cultural Relics and Archaeology, died on the evening of May 27th due to a sudden illness. Many doctors have died suddenly in Guangzhou, Hunan, Guizhou, Kunming, and other places recently, and they are basically around 50 years old. In addition, an old doctor in a tertiary hospital in Guangzhou died of severe illness 2 days after contracting the epidemic, and the hospital did not allow it to be reported. Kang Hong, a doctor at a Guangzhou clinic. All doctors in tertiary hospitals in Guangzhou have died. The Health Bureau told us that we don't need to report it, but we should pay attention to disinfection, wearing masks, and washing hands. People said that the CCP has been covering up the truth since the outbreak of the Wuhan epidemic at the end of 2019. Mr. Kai, a citizen of Zhengzhou. The official media always tells lies. It says that the number of new coronavirus cases has increased, which means that it increased a few months ago. There are 2 or 3 people who died suddenly, one in his 40s and one in his 50s. They were in good health. Anyway, there are many deaths this year, but no one dares to report them, and the hospital doesn't say anything. According to the CCP Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the current prevalent strains in China are mainly XDV variants and their sub-branch NB.181. The World Health Organization, WHO, has recently listed NB.1.81 as a variant of concern and pointed out that it is spreading rapidly in China and Hong Kong. Experts say that there is still no specific medicine for this wave of the epidemic in China. Dr. Lin Xiaoxu, an American virologist. In fact, there is no panacea at present, no special vaccine or antiviral drug that can effectively prevent the epidemic. So, in general, the Chinese people should strengthen their own immunity to fight this virus, and don't expect the official to have any panacea to control the epidemic. Last week, on May 21st, 2025, a truck at a construction site in Pudong, Shanghai was sealed for epidemic control, with a no getting off notice on the door, raising legal concerns. Days later, on May 26th, a quarantine notice surfaced for a primary school student in Guangzhou's Huangpu district, who had tested positive on May 18th and was quarantined at home until May 25th, with a return to school certificate required. These incidents sparked public concern, with many saying, the lockdown is back. Since the outbreak of the coronavirus, Wuhan pneumonia, at the end of 2019, 5 years have passed. Yet the waves of infection in China show no sign of stopping. The virus continues to spread across the country, with a growing number of cases reported in both cities and rural areas. What's more alarming is the sharp increase in the number of people passing away across all age groups. This ongoing health crisis has triggered widespread fear and anxiety among the public. From young children to the elderly, no one feels completely safe. Across mainland China, uncertainty and concern continue to grip all levels of society.
China's hidden crises, sudden deaths, COVID surge, and the rise of fake jobs. A wave of alarming trends is sweeping across China, from a spike in sudden deaths among younger generations to a persistent COVID-19 epidemic and a surreal response to rampant unemployment. Social media platforms are buzzing with reports of unexpected tragedies, overcrowded hospitals, and a bizarre new industry where jobless citizens pay to pretend they're employed. These stories paint a grim picture of a society grappling with health, economic, and social upheaval. Young lives cut short. An unsettling trend has emerged. A sharp rise in sudden deaths among those born in the 1980s and 1990s. On May 30, a Douyin blogger, Yuan, shared her grief, noting, "This year so many in their 30s and 40s are dying out of nowhere." She reflected on how people trade health for wealth, only to lose everything in a moment. The fragility of life, regardless of status, is hitting hard. On June 5, another blogger, Tanluo Inhan, echoed this, citing a funeral director who reported a surge in deaths from sudden cardiac arrest among these age groups. People who shouldn't be filling coffins. The posts struck a chord, with netizens sharing shock and sorrow. Voices from across China amplify the crisis. In Hunan, a resident reported over 70 sudden deaths under 60 this year, saying people are dropping dead unexpectedly. A Sichuan netizen mourned 7 friends and classmates from the 80s, including a cousin in his 30s buried recently. In Shandong, 3 locals around 35 died within a 10-kilometer radius. A Shanghai man, 34, battling cancer, shared his struggle. "I've endured chemo's pain, but medical costs have ruined us. I just want to live for my daughters, but it's so hard." Some netizens point fingers at COVID-19 or that thing we were all forced to take, hinting at vaccines without proof, fueling heated online debates. COVID-19's unrelenting grip. COVID-19, dubbed Wuhan pneumonia or CCP virus by some, continues to plague China. Bloggers report hospitals overwhelmed with younger patients. On June 7, a video from Shanghai Zhongshan Hospital showed packed corridors. A Fujian blogger described 4-hour waits for 5-minute doctor visits. A Hainan blogger, Say Goodnight, said, "Every hospital floor is overflowing. The virus never left, we're just silenced." China's CDC reported 400,762 new cases in May, with 606 severe cases and 7 deaths. A researcher, Per Xinhua, noted a nationwide peak since March, though some areas are seeing declines. A mainland doctor, speaking to overseas media, claimed authorities suppress COVID mentions for political reasons. In Hunan, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, Chen Yang, insisted, "The virus is erupting again. I treat patients Western medicine fails. We're barred from linking deaths to COVID." Social media also reports school closures in Guangdong, Shandong, and Jiangsu due to outbreaks, alongside flu and dengue fever surges. Censorship hides much, but leaks suggest a broader crisis. Amid health woes, China's economy is crumbling, with unemployment fueling a surreal trend: pretend-to-work companies. Jobless citizens, too ashamed to admit their status, pay to fake employment. These firms, sprouting in Beijing, Shanghai, Chongqing, and beyond, charge as little as 30 yuan daily for a desk, Wi-Fi, and fake payslips. A young woman's viral post detailed her day at 1, arriving at 9:45 a.m., upgrading to the press for 60 yuan and spotting her father's friend among the workers. By 8 p.m., the office was still packed with overtime pretenders. In Chengdu, a pretend company boss called it adult daycare. In Chongqing, an operator marketed it as a safe space for the jobless to hide. In Guangdong's Dongguan, a no-work company boasts full offices where clients can scold the boss or nap for 30 yuan. Shanghai's Jingan district offers desks for 9.9 yuan daily. Landlords hit by vacant offices now rent desks short-term to survive. Netizens are torn. Some joke it's a glorified internet cafe but cheaper than home Wi-Fi. Others embrace it. "I lie to my parents saying I'm working. It's better than shame." A blogger born in the 80s summed up the despair. "We survived SARS, tainted milk, and Wuhan pneumonia. We graduated into a jobless market, saved for homes just as prices crashed, and now face mass layoffs. Now we pay to fake work. What's next?" China's e-commerce meltdown. Refund-only abuse, the death spiral of trust, and a regime that rewards exploitation. E-commerce, once paraded by Beijing as an innovation showcase, has devolved into a free-for-all where the refund-only policy, meant to protect buyers, now functions as a state-sanctioned stick-up. Nowhere is the damage clearer than in women's fashion, where return rates of 80 to 90% are common and small vendors hemorrhage cash. Behind every collapsed shop sits the same culprit, a political system obsessed with cosmetic growth. Platforms chase gross merchandise value, officials brag about digital miracle charts, and the rules skew shamelessly toward opportunistic consumers. The outcome is a marketplace stripped of integrity, an economic microcosm of a regime willing to sacrifice the weak for headline numbers. A shield-turned-looting device. The no-return refund mechanism should reassure shoppers, yet under a performance-obsessed bureaucracy, it has mutated into a weapon for digital pickpockets. Any buyer can claim bad quality and reclaim full payment without shipping the goods back. Platforms desperate for user retention metrics instantly side with the claimant. sellers eat the losses. Inventory vanishes, freight and packaging fees stack up, and micro-merchants slide into insolvency. Beijing, meanwhile, applauds a flexible consumption model, oblivious to the culture of legalized theft it has fostered. Return hell in women's apparel. Three forces converge on fashion. First, high purchase frequency. Second, impulse buys fueled by live streamers. Third, platform satisfaction scores elevated to political KPI. Result, a vendor can watch 95% of May Day sales boomerang back, garments sweat-stained and still tagged. One seller groaned after a 4,000 yuan order. Virtually every item was refunded. The marketplace simply pressed approve. Such extremes are no glitch. They are structural when customer happiness is algorithmic dogma. Platforms as enablers, state as silent partner. Taobao pioneered shipping insurance. JD.com bragged about free pickups. Pinduoduo weaponized refund due, all to inflate GMV for quarterly slides shown up the bureaucratic chain. Merchants become collateral damage, disputes devour hours, legal fees are self-funded, and the algorithm flags any protest as poor buyer experience. Millions of family shops and ex-factory workers bleed out while government gazettes crow about record-breaking digital spend. Systemic rot. Why Beijing is the root problem. But platforms keep these loopholes wide open. If provincial cadres weren't racing for growth bragging rights, if courts defended property rights instead of PR metrics, would refund gangs openly live-stream tutorials? The answer is obvious. A state fixated on surface numbers cultivates a society where gaming the system beats honest trade. The creed becomes loot first, answer later. The authorities will look the other way if the charts look pretty. A self-destructive cycle. Rogue buyers abuse the rules. Sellers cut fabric quality to survive. Platforms tout inflated traffic. Officials register victory. And the real economy, piled with junk goods, mountains of returns, and carbon-heavy shipping, rots. Trust decays, creativity dies, copycats thrive. This is the ugly underbelly of China's so-called digital renaissance, a facade of hustle masking a hollow core. Merchants plead for change. Will anyone listen? Sellers demand blacklists for serial abusers, tighter refund vetting, or an end to free shipping insurance. But those fixes touch the sacred KPI of explosive user growth, so corporate giants stall. Unless Beijing swaps vanity metrics for rule of law and balanced arbitration, e-commerce will keep cannibalizing itself. When trust finally collapses, not just vendors but the entire Chinese economy will choke on the fallout. Proof that a prosperity built on institutionalized deceit ultimately implodes under its own lies. China's rental market in freefall, a grim snapshot of economic decline. China's rental housing market is crumbling, with rental prices plunging in a downward spiral that's turning uglier by the day. Fresh data has stunned even the most pessimistic observers. In China's top-tier cities, rents in Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen have slid back to 2015-2017 levels, while Guangzhou has plummeted to 2014. Shockingly, Tianjin, a satellite city once hailed as northern China's gateway, has seen rents revert to 2010, wiping out 15 years of growth in a flash. For landlords, the nightmare isn't just falling prices, it's the dawning realization that rents reflect true purchasing power. When 3,000 yuan once hinted at affordability for a 1.5 million yuan apartment, a 30–40% drop now lays bare a brutal truth. Incomes have shriveled, wallets are empty, and demand has fled to the suburbs or vanished entirely. The obvious culprit seems to be supply outstripping demand. But three deeper forces are shredding landlords' lifelines. First, the government's affordable rental program. Over 7 million subsidized units completed in 2 years, freshly painted, 40% cheaper than private rentals, and centrally located. Why would young renters pay more for outdated, formaldehyde-regreaking flats? Second, unsold homes are flooding the rental market. Hundreds of thousands of apartments, once priced sky-high, are now offered for rent to scrape together cash, ballooning supply endlessly. Third, real incomes are in free fall. companies slash salaries, layoffs loom, and young people either return to hometowns chasing civil service jobs or retreat to cheaper outskirts, leaving downtown golden apartments dark and deserted. The fallout is a bleak tableau. In Shenzhen, one-bedroom units once fetching 1,680 yuan now languish at 1,280, still tenantless. In Shanghai, skyscrapers that once lit up Lujiazui now have entire floors blacked out. In Hangzhou, a former magnet for 100,000 annual migrants, hot area rooms drop 500 yuan and still draw no interest. Landlords are in tears, some slipping cash to agents with keys begging just find a tenant. Already reeling from property price crashes, they now face vanishing rental income. The dream of rental covering loans has turned into dark comedy. Bank repayments stay fixed, but rental cash dwindles daily. The passive income king wallet is now a bleeding wound. Ironically, the state's policy machine has fueled this landlord apocalypse. In a desperate bid for growth, authorities pumped out rental subsidies and housing incentives while ignoring plummeting incomes. As the market tanks, official stats still demand a rosy housing consumption narrative. The solution? Flood the market with cheap supply and toss out more perks, leaving debt holders to fend for themselves. The burden falls squarely on those who bought into the bubble, the rental tycoons who believed land never loses value, now scrambling to slash prices to no avail. Worse, satellite cities are following suit. Qingzhou's post-Lunar New Year peak season for student rentals has become a landlord discount frenzy. Jinyan and Zhengzhou report brand new units at 1,000 yuan, with older ones at a few hundred still vacant. The domino effect of oversupply and shrinking demand is hitting offices too. Dongguan, Shenzhen, and even Ping An Financial Center's Dawn Tower report up to a third of their spaces empty. And so, when social media trumpets the era of cheap rentals has arrived, some cheer saving 1,000 yuan monthly, others dread their vacant homes rotting, but most see this bargain feast for what it is, a red flag of economic stagnation. In a healthy economy, rents rise with incomes. Here, they're crashing because young people's wallets are empty, unsold homes pile up, and subsidized cheap and chic projects distort competition. Behind the generous low rents looms the shadow of decline, unemployment, and hollowed-out incomes. When keys once symbolizing money machines become blood-draining burdens, you don't need zero rents to know China's property winter has truly arrived. From sudden deaths to a relentless virus and fake jobs, China's challenges are mounting. The 1980s and 90s generations, once the backbone of progress, face unprecedented pressures. Share your thoughts below and stay tuned for updates on China Undercover. Subscribe and hit the bell for the latest insights. Thank you for reading.